Coming up tonight, President opens up about criticisms. Nanado averse to possessing freedom of speech. Ghana strengthens ties with Guinea. Ghana and Guinea partner to develop bauxite. Suzuki soon in Ghana. Automobile firm to establish production plant. cedi gaining strength. President Nanado discourages over-dependence on imports. Non-performing headmasters to be demoted. Ministry of Education to improve sense of responsibility of school heads. Kazakhstan's leader resigns. Receives mixed reactions from Kazakh capital. Viareggio Youth Cup. Brekum Chelsea make it to quarterfinals. 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games. Japan's Olympic Committee chief resigns. And Obrafor declares name change. Musician wishes to be called a rap shuffle. Hello there, good evening. Coming to you from our studio here at Stephen Amati Close in Nima, Accra. This is the update on DGN. My name is Godwin Nambo. Welcome. President Otumfuo has said he's least concerned about his criticism of his administration and that he has a thick skin to absorb criticisms, particularly from his critics. Speaking at the Jubilee House when a delegation from the Ghana Bar Association (GBA) visited him, President Otumfuo acknowledged constructive criticism by stating, and I quote, "Criticism in itself, I don't find it offensive in any way. Obviously, some people can be irresponsible in the way which they use language. Others can be constructive. But you can't sit in this chair and try and make a determination as to how responsible and irresponsible someone can be. Everybody has a right to decide for themselves how they will use the space, but it's important that they keep the space open," unquote. He added that freedom of speech and media expression are very important notes for any healthy and sane society, and for that matter, he is not perturbed. The president has recently been heavily criticized for the inconsistencies related to the cedi. According to the president, his government is working hard to restore the strength of the national currency, citing the recent gains of the cedi in the foreign exchange market. The president was also more than confident about his chances of winning the 2020 general elections if the good Lord continued to grant him the gift of life. Moving on, the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, seems to be on a long hunt for a solid economic transformation. With an expected grant of 400 million euros from the EU and a recent $30 million agreement with India, Ghana and Guinea are set to begin discussions for bilateral cooperation in the development of bauxite. Dr. Bawumia made this revelation after a bilateral meeting between him and the Prime Minister of Guinea, Ibrahim Kasori Fofana, on the sidelines of the 14th CII Exim Bank Conclave on India-Africa Partnership Project in New Delhi, India. Speaking to the media, he said, and I quote, "You know what we are trying to do in the extractive sector as far as bauxite is concerned is quite similar to Guinea, but different in many perspectives. Guinea has the bauxite resources and they have the mine. We are trying to move up the value chain by not just doing mining, but also refining. After refining, we have Valco to smelter," unquote. Guinea currently has the world's largest bauxite deposit. A close partnership with Ghana, which has close to 1 billion metric tons of bauxite, will put the two countries ahead, affording them the chance to control 70 to 80% of the world's bauxite reserves. Vice President Bawumia therefore believes that such cooperation will help the two countries in knowledge sharing, drawing of synergies, and enhance mutual benefits. Again, he said, and I quote, "Our vision as a country is to have our counterparts Guinea and others patronize our refinery and also bring their raw bauxite for smelter in Ghana. This will help boost the Ghanaian economy and earn us additional foreign exchange," unquote. Now, Japanese automobile manufacturing company Suzuki Motors has finally joined a list of car manufacturing firms who want to set up a production plant in Ghana. The announcement was made by the company's general manager in charge of Middle East and Africa, Koichi Suzuki, when he paid a courtesy call on President Otumfuo at the Jubilee House yesterday. "We are highly interested in participating in the initiative by the Ghanaian government to kickstart production in Ghana," he said. Another Japanese company, Nissan, German auto company Volkswagen, Chinese Sinotruk have all indicated their interest in building plants in Ghana. Their intention is not only to set up the manufacturing plant in Ghana, but to use the country as its distribution and after-sales service center in sub-Saharan Africa, together with Compagnie Française de l'Afrique Occidentale (CFAO). Suzuki is working in partnership with Toyota Tsusho the trading arm of the Toyota Group in 26 countries. Suzuki produces 3.3 million vehicles annually, with engine capacities less than 1.6 liters, with a production plant in India, which produces almost half of its global production. They pride themselves in producing not only affordable, but reliable, safe and fuel-efficient vehicles, with over 50% market shares in India. President Otumfuo described the news as encouraging and welcomed the company. President Otumfuo on Tuesday assured that government is taking measures to fix the fragility of the Ghana cedi. Already, the Ghana cedi, he said, had begun to show signs of recovery, and he's hoping that the downward trend will continue and it will get further and further down so that the recent upset will be wiped out. The president gave the assurance in an interaction with the leadership of the Ghana Bar Association (GBA) at the Jubilee House in Accra, in which the association raised concerns about the fall of the Ghana cedi against other trading currencies and the current energy situation in the country. He told the GBA that the depreciation of the cedi was the result of over-dependence on imports for sustenance by Ghanaians, indicating that the issue was a major worry for his government. He said, I quote, "There are structural problems that we have so far not articulated loudly in my view. We live in a country where we are overly dependent on the importation of things for our daily sustenance. Things that we can produce, we continue to import them, and at the same time we don't generate enough exports. It is the issue on the persistent deficit and the national income statistics on current accounts that is what gives rise to the frailty of our currency. This is the matter that we should all understand as the origin of the real fragility of our currency," unquote. President Otumfuo said the Trade Ministry will soon release a list that shows Ghana's import profile, and he bet 70% of the things on that list are things that we can produce in this country. This is the importance of the One District, One Factory initiative. It is not just a political gimmick. It is an attempt to address the issue of being more self-reliant. This whole Ghana Beyond Aid mantra that is now brought is about self-reliance, of doing for ourselves things that we continue to depend on other people to do, the president added. Now, headmasters within the public basic schools who fail to improve the performance of their schools within a 3-year period will be demoted and not be allowed to head any public school. The punitive measure has been identified as part of an accountability framework designed by the Ministry of Education to improve the sense of urgency and responsibility of school heads towards the performance of students. This initiative would be fully enforced after the implementation of a new curriculum and a national assessment program, where critical performance data on public schools will be collected for assessment purposes. Deputy Minister of Education Dr. Edu-revolution announced this when he addressed some stakeholders in Accra yesterday at the edu-revolution conference organized by InfoView Data Solutions. He explained that such a measure was necessary as public schools at the basic level had for a long time underperformed, partially due to low sense of urgency among some heads. Unlike the senior high schools, where the old students have keen interest in the administration of the school, he said the public schools at the basic level do not have that kind of interest.
That not only should we train teachers, not only should we reform curricula, but also have to look at how do we recognize those who do a good job, and how do we help those who are not doing a very good job to really improve. And that is where the accountability framework should be about. That not only are you holding people accountable, but also look at developing their capacity. And we have a number of programs at the Ministry of Education that is geared towards helping public schools perform. And we need that framework helping all of us to hold ourselves accountable.
So Dr. Edu stated that a national assessment program will do away with the existing practice where teachers ended up being rewarded as headmasters by virtue of serving in the educational sector for a long time. He, however, gave the assurance that government would prioritize its support to low-performing schools by improving infrastructure and building the capacity of teachers in ensuring that they meet their targets. Now, the Kazakhstan president of 29 years, Nursultan Nazarbayev, has given up his seat as the leader of the 9th largest country in the world, giving no specific reason for his decision, leaving the nation of Kazakhstan speechless. In a televised address on Tuesday, the 78-year-old said, "I have decided to end my duties as president," before signing a decree terminating his powers effective March 30th.
I'm addressing you today as I've always done in the most important moments in the history of our state, which we are building together. but my address today is special. I made an uneasy decision to step down as president of the Republic of Kazakhstan.
He went on to say, and I quote, "This year, I will have held the highest post for 30 years. As the founder of the independent Kazakh state, I see my task now in facilitating the rise of a new generation of leaders who will continue the reforms that are underway in the country," unquote. His sudden announcement has come less than a month after the ex-leader fired his government, citing a lack of economic development despite the country's vast energy resources. Mixed reactions came from the Kazakh capital following his resignation, with many expecting him to seek another term in 2020. Instead, he has stated that he will continue as leader of the ruling Nur-Tan party and will remain in his lifelong position as chairman of the country's Security Council. But his presence will still linger in government, as he will continue to enjoy significant policy-making powers following him stepping down thanks to his constitutional status as leader of the nation. It could be speculated that his decision to step down was to avoid a possible power struggle if in his death there was a power vacuum. In order to avoid that, perhaps this was the only way. Another reason for his abrupt choice could be as a result of the allegations of suppressing dissent and sidelining the opposition that has been set against him, despite the leader being hailed for maintaining stability and ethnic peace in Kazakhstan. Radio Free Europe said in a news report that Nazarbayev's resignation, followed by, I quote, "unusually persistent protests in which demonstrators in several cities across the country of some 18.7 million have accused the government of ignoring the needs and demands of ordinary people," unquote. The Speaker of the Central Asian country's legislative upper house, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, will serve as the interim head of state until a new election is held, and 53-year-old Askar Mamim was named as the new prime minister in the unforeseen turn of events. Now in sports, Ghana's top Premier League side, Berekum Chelsea, made history last Tuesday as they became the first African side to reach the quarterfinals of the prestigious Vireggio Youth Camp after defeating Brazilian club Atlético Paranaense. The youth team of the Berekum-based club defeated the South Americans 4-3 on penalties after the game ended on a 1-1 draw at the end of the regulation time. After making it in the last 8 of the competition, the footballers have officially become the first African side to reach that level of the tournament as they vie for the title of the tournament highly regarded in Italy. Now, the head of Japan's Olympic Committee, JOC, is stepping down over corruption allegations relating to the awarding of the 2020 Games to Tokyo. Tsunekazu Takeda is being investigated by French prosecutors who are looking into claims that a €2 million bribe was paid to secure Tokyo's winning bid. Tokyo was awarded the Games in 2013, beating Madrid and Istanbul. "I don't believe I've done anything illegal," Takeda said, as he announced he would not seek re-election. Takeda's tenure ends in June. The Japanese government has always insisted Tokyo's bid is clean. Now, Ghana's hip life artist Michael Kwabena Darko, popularly known as Otumfuo, has come out to declare a new stage name. The Paimuka musician, while speaking on Hits FM, clearly stated his preference in the name Rap Sofo, to wit Rap Pastor. The reason for the sudden change of name, according to the hip life artist, is as a result of a divine influence. The rapper disclosed that the key word Sofo has had a positive effect on him ever since the accolade Rap Sofo was added to his stage name of Otumfuo. He asserted the great length at which his songs had gone to create positive impact on the lives of many, especially the elderly. Purging all negativity related to hip life had been his #1 goal. Thus, he wishes to be addressed as Rap Sofo henceforth. We are back with the update tomorrow, but for more in-depth stories, visit our website at dailyguidenetwork.com. Or let's get interactive on social media via Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at the Daily Guide Network, or personally with me at Godwin Nambo on Instagram and Facebook. The update is brought to you by Diamond Cement, powered by Press Express, and supported by Casa Clothing. Many thanks for watching. My name is Godwin Nambo.